Welcome back to the Positive Solutions for Families series. This is our last session, Facing the Challenge, Part 2. Today we will talk about some strategies you can use to deal with the behavior problems that continue even though you are using all of the parenting practices we have discussed in our previous sessions. Before we begin, I want you to think about how things are going at home. What strategies have you begun to use? How are they working? What happened when you tried them? Have you seen any changes in your child's behavior? How did it make you feel as you tried these new strategies? Let's begin by looking at some descriptions of children who are having challenging behavior. I will read each story to you, and I want you to think about what that child might want or might not want. Think about what the child's behavior is saying. What is the child trying to tell us? Let's look at the first one. Angelo is playing blocks with his mom while his mom cooks dinner. Mom says, "Angelo, dinner is ready. Come to the table." Angelo comes to the table and after a few minutes gets up, grabs his sandwich, and goes over to play with his blocks. Mom said, "Angelo, come back to the table." Angelo comes to the table to drink some juice and then leaves again. Mom tells Angelo again to come back to the table. Angelo throws his sandwich, then he falls on the floor, kicking and screaming. Angelo's behavior seems to be saying, "I don't want to sit at the table." Mom is making cookies with Fabio and his sister Kate. Fabio is stirring the cookie dough and taking bites of the dough. Kate tries to take the spoon away. Fabio grabs the bowl and Kate starts crying. Mom takes the bowl away from Fabio. Fabio throws himself on the floor and begins crying. Fabio's behavior seems to be saying, "I want to hold the mixing bowl." This story is a little more complicated. You may think that Fabio's behavior means that he does not want his sister to have a turn. However, if we took the bowl away to put in the refrigerator, would Fabio still have a tantrum? He probably would. He wants the bowl. Children engage in challenging behavior because it works for them. When children engage in challenging behavior, it is to get something or someone or to get out of something. We don't like that they use challenging behavior to express themselves, and often we don't like the message. For example, if your child has a tantrum in the grocery store because she wants to buy a toy and you said no, we can recognize that the behavior is saying, "I want a toy," even if we don't like the message. Remember to be a detective. Try to figure out the meaning of your child's behavior. What is your child trying to tell you? Examine the situation. Sometimes it takes a little detective work to figure out what the behavior is about. You have to step back and examine the solution. Clues to figure out the meaning of a behavior can be found in 3 things. What happened before the behavior, what the child did, and what happened after the behavior. Let's look at Angelo again. Angelo's mother tells him that it is time for dinner. She begins to guide him to sit in his chair. He falls on the floor, begins kicking and screaming, and shouts, "No!" His mother tells him to stop and tries to pick him up. He kicks her and she sends him to his room. What happened before his behavior? Angelo's mother tells him that it is time for dinner. She begins to guide him to sit in his chair. What does that tell you? His mother asked him to come to the dinner table. His behavior is in reaction to that. Now let's look at what Angelo did when his mother asked him to come to the table and guided him to his chair. He falls on the floor, begins kicking and screaming, and shouts, "No!" What did he do? He had a major tantrum. That lets us know that the request for coming to the table was met with major resistance. Now, let's look at what happened after his behavior. His mother tells him to stop and tries to pick him up. He kicks her, and she sends him to his room. What did Angelo eventually get? Did his need get met? Do you think he might try this behavior again? Behavior can mean many things. Here's a list of some of the things your child's challenging behavior may be communicating. I want you to pay attention to me. I want that to toy, food, paint, etc. I want to play with you. I don't want to stop what I'm doing. I don't want to clean up. Remember, we may not like the message, but we can identify and understand it. Once you can identify the meaning of a challenging behavior, you can identify a plan to change it. For example, if you know that a soup is too bland, you can add some spice. But if all you know is that the soup is not right, there's not much you can do about it. We're going to talk about what goes into the plan with the goal of reducing your child's problem behavior and teaching him new skills to use. You should always have these 3 essential parts in your plan. Use prevention strategies to try to keep challenging behavior from happening. Teach your child new ways to communicate or new skills for participating in routines or expectations. Make sure your child's challenging behavior doesn't work for him or her. Here are just a few ideas about what you might use as prevention strategies. Our goal here is to minimize the possibility that your child will use challenging behavior. For example, if your child uses challenging behavior when you say, "Time for bed," you might want to give him a warning that helps him get ready for the final direction of bedtime. You might say, 10 minutes to bedtime, and then 5 minutes later, 5 minutes to bedtime, and then state the direction, bedtime. It may also help to include choices. It's bedtime now. You can choose to read 2 books or listen to music while you fall asleep. It may sound like I'm recommending that you are accommodating your child when he is misbehaving. And in some sense, I am. I'm recommending that you change the conditions of the task to minimize the likelihood that your child will be using challenging behavior. When you do that, your child will be calmer and better able to learn the routine, new skills, or your expectations for behavior. Here are some examples of other prevention strategies. Simplify the task. If you have asked your child to make her bed, maybe you could change your expectations and only ask her to pull up the bedspread after you have done the rest. Explain what will come. If your child has a difficult time at the doctor's office, you might try to explain through a storybook or with pictures what will happen in the doctor's office before you get there. Make your child comfortable. If your child cries when being buckled into the hot car seat, think of some strategies to cool it down before putting your child in it. Use a job chart. Sometimes getting a string of verbal directions from an adult can set off challenging behavior. A job chart can display what you want your child to do, and you can put stickers on the chart to celebrate the completion of each task. Show a picture. You'll be surprised at how a picture can explain what is coming up next or be used to give a direction to your child. You might use a sit picture to remind your child to sit down, or a photo of your child doing a routine to let him know it is time to do that activity. Reduce distractions. Sometimes there's too much going on, and your child can't attend to you or your instructions. For example, you might first turn off the TV, get on your child's eye level, and then give the instructions. Offer help. When your child is doing a task that might be hard, for example, getting dressed, you can offer your help before the trouble begins, or remind your child that she can always ask for your help. Prepare the activity ahead of time. Children don't wait well. Actually, most adults don't like to wait either. Prepare activities ahead of time and minimize your child's wait time. For example, don't call your child to the dinner table until everything is ready, if he is likely to be resistant. Make the activity fun. Children will do better in activities if it is fun for them. For example, if your child resists bath time, think about making up a silly song or use a washcloth puppet to help her get undressed and into the tub. We are going to use prevention strategies to make the routine easier for the child to do without using challenging behavior. But we are not going to stop there. We can't just make everything okay and better for children. We also must have expectations for them. Our first effort at teaching new skills is to teach a replacement skill for the challenging behavior. For example, if your child is having a tantrum to communicate, "I want a toy," wouldn't it be better if she just said with words that she wanted the toy? Here's a list of new skills we could teach a child to replace his problem behavior. Ask for a turn. Ask for an object. Ask for an activity. Ask for help. Ask for a hug. Ask to leave. Say no. Say, "I don't want to." Make a choice. Follow a schedule. When we can't honor the meaning of the behavior, this can be a difficult part of the approach. Your child may want to communicate messages you don't want to hear. For example, if your child says, "I don't want to," when you want her to brush her teeth, should we teach her to say that? No, we will teach her the new skills of following a schedule or using a job chart. But if your child says "all done" when sitting at the dinner table, that is better than having a tantrum to get down from the table. You can then say, "one more bite, then all done." When you begin to implement your plan, your child will still have some challenging behavior. It's not going to change just because you developed a plan. It's sort of like one of us joining a gym. It's a good first step, but you won't lose weight just because you made a commitment to exercising. So, you need to make sure that your plan includes new ways for you to respond to challenging behavior when it occurs. The most common strategy you can use is to say to your child, you can use your words, "tell me," or "show me," and then give your child what he wants. The goal here is to have your child use the new skills to get his needs met. Sometimes we can't let children have what they want. For example, you must sit in your car seat, you must take your medicine, you must get dressed, you must take a bath, and you must stay in your own bed. On these occasions, tell the child you know what she is feeling or wanting, and then restate the rule. You can follow that with a choice. You need to sit in your car seat, but you can hold your bear or your blankie. Here's a list of new ways to respond to your child so that her challenging behavior is not reinforced. but that the new skill is highly reinforced instead. Redirecting the child in a calm manner to use the new skill is very important. Redirect the child to use the new skill, and then let the child have what she wants or out of what she doesn't want. Hold your ground, but give the child a choice. Tell the child, I know you are, but you have to. Hold your ground and state exactly what you want your child to do in a calm tone of voice. If these ideas are new to you, it can be a little overwhelming and complicated. Here are some times of day or settings when routines can be helpful. Getting dressed or undressed, brushing teeth or hair, meals or snacks, play, clean up, riding in the car, shopping, restaurants, going to the doctor, taking medicine, taking a bath, when parents can't play, and transitions. Developing a plan for family activities and routines where children might have challenging behavior can be effective. If your child struggles during a certain time of day or in a particular setting, think about introducing a consistent routine to help improve behavior. Think about a routine or an activity during which your child has challenging behavior. Why do you think your child might have challenging behavior during this routine? What do you think your child is trying to tell you? What can you do to try to prevent the challenging behavior? What can you do if the challenging behavior occurs? Is there a new skill that your child can learn to replace the challenging behavior? This completes our final Positive Solutions for Families Positive Parenting series. Thank you for watching the series of videos. We hope that you have learned a lot of new ways to help your child understand your expectations and to express his or her emotions. If you try to implement all of the things that we have discussed and your child still has challenging behavior, try the approach we have discussed in this session. We all encounter children who have difficulty, and we need to team with other people to help fully meet their needs. If your child still has difficulties, please ask for help. You can always contact your child's teacher. And please don't forget to give yourself a pat on the back and encouragement for the great job that you are doing.